They say the darkest corners of the world hold the loudest screams. But in the Hürtgen forest, the screams were drowned out by the endless, grinding roar of artillery. For 4 days, we lived in a cold, green tomb, listening to the trees die around us. November 1944. The Battle of the Hürtgen Forest. It was supposed to be a straightforward pusher-clearing action to protect the flanks of a major advance. Instead, it became a slow, churning slaughterhouse. We were the 2nd Battalion, 12th Infantry Regiment, roughly 400 men strong, ordered to take a section of high ground known simply as the Vosenac Ridge. When we first moved into the dense, dark woods, an unsettling silence hung in the air. This wasn't the silence of peace, but the quiet before the storm, a silence that felt heavy and wrong. The ground itself seemed hostile. It was a tangled mess of deep ravines, thick pine, and a perpetual dampness that seeped into your bones. The Germans called this area the Todswald, the Forest of Death, and we were about to find out why. The attack started routinely enough, but the German defenses were not what intelligence had reported. They were deep, mutually supporting bunkers and hidden machine gun nests carved into the earth. The moment we took the ridge, the trap sprung shut. The first hint of trouble wasn't a crack of a rifle, but the sudden, terrifying sound of incoming fire, not rifles, but artillery. German gunners had the range precisely dialed in on our position. It wasn't just shelling. It was a continuous, mind-numbing deluge of steel. The noise was so loud you couldn't hear the man next to you yell. Trees exploded into splinters, and the forest floor became a churned soup of mud, snow, and torn earth. We dug in immediately, scratching foxholes into the frozen ground, but the holes offered little comfort. Within hours, German infantry, the grizzly bears as we called them, tough, determined veterans, began their counterattacks. They came in waves, their field gray uniforms blending perfectly into the fading light and shadows of the pines. Sergeant Miller, a giant of a man, gripped the edge of his foxhole, his knuckles white. "Keep your heads down, boys. Ammo conservation is the word," he shouted, his voice barely audible over the din. But how could we conserve? The attacks were relentless, coming from all sides. We were completely encircled. The Germans had cut the main supply route, and the radio was spitting static. We were ghosts in the forest, cut off, alone. The second day was the worst. It was a cold, unforgiving blur of close-quarters combat. The cold was a physical thing, a constant, nagging